Seeing this, the leader decided to forcefully take her by the chest, saying that if she did not want good things, then bad things would happen. But Officer Lowe arrived in time and pointed his gun at him again. Officer Law, along with his fellow guards, subdued the gang leader and his associates, saying that Kelly told him they wanted to attack her. But at first, he did not believe her, but now he was convinced of it personally. The head of the prisoners told the officer that if he suddenly decided to plot intrigues against him with this mischievous bitch, he would regret it. When suddenly Kelly put her foot on his face. Putting her foot on his face, she said that a scumbag like him should rot in prison all his life, and that she, Kelly, would never allow a time bomb like him to explode next to her. Meanwhile, not far from the shopping center, the battle continued between the Lady Virus and what Liu Feng called himself, a fire-breathing horse. Virus was confused because she could not understand who was under the horse mask. And who even thought of wearing a horse mask? After all, a person with a horse's head is not considered a hero, she thought. Liu Feng once again used fiery horse breath, but the virus managed to evade. At that moment, Liu Feng realized that she needed to show her something new, something that she had not seen before and would not expect to see. He used the magnetic power of his kung fu glove to stop her flying blade and send it back to her, thereby knocking her not only off her feet but also off her feet. Since Liu Feng didn't want to kill her, he grabbed her by the neck and, taking off his horse's head, said that I think she said if he wins, she will let his friends go. Is it true that he asked her? She acknowledged the fact that Liu Feng was good-looking and his strength was not bad, but she couldn't understand whether he was really together with that Kelly. Then she asked him to wait a little, because soon they would go to the shopping center and he would grab her. Liu Feng asked why they need Kelly. Virus replied with a smile on her face that Health Minister Zheng Tianxiong announced a huge monetary reward for this girl. These officials are always so merciful. So she decided that she would kill this dog sooner or later. Liu Feng realized that this time there would be blood. If he didn't strangle her now, she would kill Kelly, so he apologized to her and began to squeeze her neck tighter. The virus liked this feeling of suffocation. It was so pleasant. Suddenly there was an explosion on the street, and diverted everyone's attention to himself. Literally a second later, the system warned Liu Feng that mutants of unprecedented power were appearing, and she advised him to leave this place for the safety of the owner. This explosion meant that Commander Virus's convoy was attacked by a zombie monster, who easily took the car and, lifting it, threw it straight into the building. After which he took another car and threw it straight into the building where Liu Feng and his friends and the virus commander and his comrades were. Taking advantage of the moment, Liu Feng, together with Li Xin, made a unanimous decision that they should not continue the battle, but rather run away slowly. Seeing them running away, Commander Virus ordered her subordinates not to pursue them. First, deal with these zombies, then go to the shopping center and grab Kelly. After all, she was sure that they would all go there together, and when the time came, she would destroy them all. Meanwhile, at the mall, Kelly was making a list of her remaining items. After compiling the list, she said that food restrictions should be introduced today, since these products will only last for 5 days, and they also need to start patrolling the entire area. The team with Ellie will go on patrol, and tomorrow he will go with another team in search of food. And he thanked Kelly for helping them. A girl with red hair named Ling Lao was unhappy that Kelly had decided to reduce the amount of food given out per person. Ling Lao asked Kelly in an angry voice why she was restricting food, but Kelly was currently interested in another question. She asked her grandmother how pregnant the girl was. Granny replied that, to be honest, it's strange because when they came to the mall, Li Hua's belly was small, but over the past few days it suddenly became so huge, as if she was about to give birth. Kelly realized that something was fishy here and invited her granny to help her deliver some food for the pregnant woman in order to check if everything was fine with them. After which, she remembered that the pregnant woman had wounds on her wrist that looked like a zombie bite. Ling Lao again told Kelly that she never answered her question, to which Kelly said that she would not answer since she had nothing to say. She made such a decision that she herself would go with the squad to kill zombies and search for food. Then she asked Ling Lao whether she would go with them or not. Officer Luo interrupted the girls and told Ling Lao to stop being capricious. Kelly reported her concerns to Officer Lo about the pregnant Li Hua. Having said that, she took a look at her wound and it didn't look like a simple scratch. In addition, it does not happen that the belly grows to such a huge size in just 3 days. Ling Lao was very angry with the officer and Kelly because she was the reason Luo scolded her for the first time. She was just about to leave in upset feelings when suddenly Zhang San called her from his cell, saying that he had a way to return her man to her and kill that chick she hated. Meanwhile, in one of the rooms on the other side of the shopping center, that pregnant woman felt very uncomfortable. She was in a lot of pain because her stomach felt like it was going to burst. She asks her husband, who was next to her, if everything is fine with their child, is he healthy? But when the man saw what came out of her stomach, he froze in shock. He couldn't believe that this monster he saw was really his child. Suddenly he noticed that Granny came to them and brought them food. Seeing what happened to the pregnant woman, the food fell out of the Granny's hands. She grabbed her face with both hands and started screaming that she was a zombie, but the husband did not want to believe it and said that it was not so. Everything was fine with her. But before he could finish speaking, his wife, whom he loved so much and was expecting, from whom he had a child, pierced him right through with her tentacles. Because she was no longer the one he loved, she became a mutant zombie. At that moment, Kelly told the officer that Li Hua had been bitten by a zombie, and that the child in her stomach was probably no longer a child. Perhaps there was a parasite in her. Before she had time to finish speaking, the same Li Hua jumped out of the room, but in the form of a zombie, and began to eat her grandmother. The officer, without thinking for a long time, took out his service pistol and fired 2 shots at Li Hua, one of which hit her directly in the head, but she did not die. The officer immediately realized that she was now a mutant zombie and ordered Da Qiang to flee with Xiao Sun in order to protect the supplies. Kelly understood that her plan had failed again. She did not understand what kind of end of the world this was, but this was definitely beyond her capabilities. She knew that she could only count on 9527. Seeing that someone had dragged Xiao Li out the door, Officer Luo wanted to take out a gun, but Ling Lao, who had conspired with the bandits, pointed the gun at him and told him not to move. She told the officer that this all happened because of the seductress Kelly and asked him to move away so that she could kill her. Zhang San understood that they had quarreled, and this was not very good, but now they are one team. Ling Lao told Zhang San to kill this bitch and not stand there like idols. We didn't have to wait long because one of Zhang San's accomplices walked around Kelly from behind and grabbed her. She miscalculated the psyche of people in the world of the apocalypse. Now, her hope for salvation was only 9527. He tore her dress, saying that he had long wanted to taste her, told her how juicy she was. While they're confident that they are rich, they have no idea what kind of life ordinary people live. Zhang San was fed up with Officer Luo's threats and reproaches, so he pointed a gun at him. After which, without thinking for a long time, he shot him straight in the head. After which he approached his partner, who was holding Kelly, and began to help him tear her dress, saying that they would not stand on ceremony anymore. He told her that he and his brothers were imprisoned for killing a rich mayor. But before her death, they tried for 5 whole hours. At the very end, she prayed to get to heaven as soon as possible. They tore her dress into shreds, holding her by the hair and hands, saying that they loved watching the rich people struggle with all their might. But they still couldn't do anything. Kelly recalled how she struggled for many years to establish her business. But in recent days, everything fell apart in one moment. Even her ostentatious fiancé, Zheng Tianxiong, is not even going to come to save her. So she can only rely on Liu Feng. What can we say about an ordinary courier, if even Officer Luo was killed so easily by these people? But she was not going to give up because she could take revenge. She just needed to survive for this. Before she had time to think about all this, a horseman burst into the room with a chainsaw in his hands, with which he cut into pieces the zombie mutant who had attacked them. Of course, it was Liu Feng. Taking off the horse's head, he said that he had been looking for President Kelly for a very long time and finally found him. Seeing Liu Feng, all the robbers, along with the leader, were dumbfounded because they thought that he had died a long time ago. But he not only survived, but also scattered all these scoundrels who allowed themselves to offend President Kelly. After he dealt with all the offenders, he asked President Kelly if she was okay. In turn, she replied that she was fine and was very grateful to him for saving her. Seeing that President Kelly was standing half naked, he immediately took off his red sports jacket and threw it over her shoulders. Kelly said she never thought he would actually come to save her. In response, Liu Feng said that he could not help but come because he promised her that he would come. Afterwards, he saw that she was sniffing his sports jacket and apologized to her, saying that he ran here and all his clothes smelled of sweat. Kelly reassured him by saying that his clothes did not stink, but on the contrary calmed him down and thanked him again for saving him. Jung San, having recovered from Liu Feng's blow, stood up and pointed the revolver at him, asking him why he serves this rich woman and why does he save her if he himself is a poor man. Liu Feng, thanks to his kung fu magnetic glove, disarmed Jung San, after which he took his chainsaw and pierced him through it. While killing him, he answered his question, saying that although he is poor, he believes that he can realize his dreams through his own efforts, and he is not exactly like the others. Before he could finish his story, a mutant monster suddenly appeared from behind the wall and grabbed Jung San by the head. It was an incredible mutant zombie of strength and power. The system immediately warned Liu Feng that this mutant was a high threat, and he was advised to flee. Liu Feng said that he was the one who brought this zombie mutant with him, as he chased them all the way to the entrance of the shopping mall, and Liu Feng had no choice but to distract him with himself. Before Liu Feng could finish his story, the mutant zombie released 4 tentacles from his hand, 2 of which pierced the bodies of people standing nearby. Kelly suggested that he run away from this mutant zombie, but Liu Feng knew that he couldn't just run away from him, so he didn't even try. He put on his fire-breathing horse mask, after which, with one movement of his hand, he started his chainsaw and said that everyone simply underestimates him. He rushed to the attack and began to chop off one tentacle after another, preventing the mutant zombie from attacking himself. After he chopped all the tentacles of the mutant zombie into small pieces, he decided to use his chainsaw to cut the zombie itself. In response, the mutant zombie counterattacked, hitting Liu Feng with his powerful left fist. Seeing how Liu Feng suffered from the mutant zombie, Kelly asked him if everything was okay. Liu Feng replied that everything was fine. But this zombie mutant is very strong. It's good that if he managed to close himself with a saw, he would have broken all his ribs. But he noticed that his fire show still injured the zombies. Having dusted himself off, Liu Feng stood up and again decided to fight the mutant zombie, when suddenly, out of nowhere, the wall broke, and the mercenary with whom he had fought just half an hour earlier flew into the mutant zombie in a car. Of course, it was the virus lady and her thugs. Liu Feng didn't expect to see her so soon. One of the mercenaries pointed his finger at Kelly, saying that this was the same girl they were looking for. Kelly asked them where they knew her from, to which the lady virus replied that her fiancé Zheng Tianxiong ordered them to save her and offered to go with her. Liu Feng knew that if Kelly left, Zheng Tianxun's mystery would not be solved and the mission would fail. He had to find a way to make her stay here. At this moment, Lady Virus said that in the world of Doomsday there were still suitors who had lost their heads with love, and she must immediately deliver Kelly into his arms. Liu Feng asked her to listen to him and said that he needed a plan first. Then he grabbed her chest. Literally after 1 minute, he realized that he took Kelly by the chest because he wanted to take her by the shoulder. Therefore, he asked her for forgiveness, to which she replied that there was nothing wrong with it, but asked how long would he keep his hand on her chest. Liu Feng immediately removed his hand and told her to forgive him. Lady Virus, seeing this, told Kelly that she was just a prostitute who was cuckolding her fiancé. In response to such insults, Kelly asked Lady Virus to apologize for her words, since she and Liu Feng simply had a mutually beneficial cooperation. And besides, she was only engaged. Liu Feng took off his horse's head and told everyone to stop. After all, Kelly's fiancé is actually not a good person at all. Hearing this, Kelly couldn't understand what Liu Feng was talking about. He told her that her fiancé Zheng Tianxiong built a dungeon in the Bluebird Hospital. He secretly researched the zombie virus and also captured his little sister and turned her into a monster. Kelly began to wonder if Bluebird Hospital was one of her businesses. And why did Zheng Tianxiong also dominate there? And even conduct experiments on people? And where is he after all now?